Okay, so let's get right into it. We're going to tackle a massive paradox today. How on earth has China managed to build one of the world's most powerful tech industries while running an education and social system that, from the outside, looks like it discourages critical thinking? It's a puzzle, and it kind of messes with everything we assume about where innovation comes from.
And this quote, wow, it just hits you right in the chest. This is from someone who grew up in the system. They were trained to solve incredibly complex problems, sure, but also conditioned to just stop, to hit a mental wall the second certain topics came up. That internal conflict is really the key to the whole story.
So that's the big question, right? This is what we're here to unpack. If we're always told that free speech and open debate are the fuel for new ideas, then how is this model not just surviving, but absolutely crushing it? The answer, you'll see, is way more fascinating than you might think.
To even begin to understand this, you have to look at the system's software first. We're talking about how minds are shaped, how they're, well, engineered right from the start. And it's not about brainwashing in some spooky way. It's about building a very specific, very efficient cognitive framework.
Now, this is a super important point. The system doesn't actually kill critical thinking. Instead, it builds walls around it. Inside those walls, you are pushed to be unbelievably innovative, to solve problems, to think critically. But you're trained not to ask questions about the walls themselves. Because doing that, well, that's how you get shut out from the path to success.
So, once you have those boundaries in place, something really interesting happens to your mental energy. It stops being about exploration, about asking, hey, why are we even doing this? And instead, it all gets funneled into one thing: optimization. Finding the absolute fastest, most efficient way to solve the problem you've been given. And check this out, this mindset is so deep, it's literally built into the language. Mandarin is incredibly dense. You can express complex thoughts with way fewer syllables. Just look at this example. The same idea takes twice as many syllables, twice as long to say in English. This focus on efficiency in the language itself just reinforces that cultural drive to optimize everything.
Okay, so you take that optimization mindset, and then you throw in the modern online world. In what's been called hyper-hedonism, the desire for tough, complex debates just kind of withers away. Why bother when you can just be comfortable and entertained? And look, this isn't just about state propaganda. Most young people just tune that out. It's about making the truth feel exhausting. And that creates the absolute perfect environment for entertainment-driven, dopamine-heavy tech like TikTok to explode.
All right, so we've talked about the software, the mindset. Now let's get into the hardware. We're talking about the raw, undeniable power of industrial scale.
This number right here, it says it all. When you're pumping out 4 times as many engineers and scientists as the US, the whole game changes. You don't need every single person to be a visionary genius. You can make incredible leaps forward just through sheer, flawless mass execution. At that scale, you don't debate problems, you just assign them and get them solved.
And if you want to see this whole system, the optimization and the scale working in perfect harmony, look no further than the global race for electric cars. I mean, it is the perfect case study for how this model creates total market dominance.
This was not an accident. As you can see from this timeline, this was a decades-long strategic plan. The government pointed at batteries and said that's the future way back in 2001. Then they formalized it. That created a super stable environment where companies knew if they invested heavily in this stuff, the demand would be there. And the result of all that planning? A near total chokehold on every single critical part of the EV battery supply chain. We're talking from refining the raw materials all the way to building the final battery cells. It's a dependency that is incredibly hard for the rest of the world to get out of.
So what does that industrial dominance actually look like for a regular person? Well, it looks like this. You could buy almost 3 of these super popular BYD Seagull EVs for the price of one of the cheapest EVs in the United States. That's what happens when you master cheaper battery tech, the LFP batteries, and then just scale it up like crazy.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. This kind of power, perfected in something like EVs, it doesn't stay home. In this last section, we're going to see how that domestic power starts to project outwards, and how it basically starts exporting those walls of thought to the West.
It's really a 3-step process. First, the West offshored all its manufacturing for cheaper goods. That broke the link between seeing how things are made and being able to question it. Step 2, that outsourcing created a massive economic dependency. And now, step 3, that dependency gives our own institutions a huge financial reason to just not ask the hard questions.
And let me be clear, this is not a theory.
It's happening right now. A researcher at Stanford getting surveilled for her work. A Canadian politician repeating state talking points. A professor at a major university in the UK getting pulled from her own class because she asked a critical question about China.
I mean, you just have to read this quote from University College London. The official reason they gave wasn't about academic integrity. It was a business calculation. The course needed to stay commercially viable. The money from students was more important than the university's actual mission. It's the perfect example of how that economic dependency leads directly to self-censorship.
So, where does all this leave us? Let's pull all these threads together and finish on the one big, unasked question at the center of it all.
So that paradox we started with, it's not so much a paradox anymore. The system works because you combine a mindset of intense optimization with unbelievable industrial scale, and that creates a global dependency that rewards everyone for just staying inside the walls and not asking tough questions.
But that leads us to the final, lingering thought. This model is incredibly powerful. For now, what happens when a crisis hits? An economic one, an environmental one, that can't just be optimized away? What happens when the only way out is to start asking the very questions the entire system was designed to make you ignore? That, right there, is the unasked question.